And that's what's happening today. But I'll give you an even more moving illustration for me. It occurred between two very large organizations in principle. One was Youth with a Mission, and the other was the Southern Baptist Convention. Now, I don't want to go too far with this, but they come from slightly different positions theologically, okay? Just slightly different. I'm not overdoing it. Am I okay? Are we okay? Okay. And Avery Willis, who's here, was representing the Southern Baptist, number 2 guy at that time in the International Mission Board. And he turned to Mark Anderson, our very Mark Anderson here, and he said to Mark, everything we have in church planting, and believe me, the Southern Baptists probably got the best stuff that exists. Everything we have in church planting is yours in YWAM free. I clutched my heart. I looked up. I listened for the trumpet. I was sure the end was near. But I just need to tell you, that's what's going on today. You don't have those meetings in your experience, but I do. That's what's happening. And the last thing I'll share with you briefly is regarding breakthrough progress. Quickly, oral methods are overcoming the problem of illiteracy. 2/3 of earth cannot be discipled in writing, so you hand them a Bible that's written. That doesn't do them any good unless somebody reads it to them. No problem. That problem's been solved. I have in my home a course that actually Avery Willis and a group of people designed called Following Jesus that can take a person from being a brand new Christian to being a senior pastor or a missionary without ever assuming that person learns to read. Now think of seminary training for those pastors and you begin to say, oh, that's going to be challenging. No problem. They're even working on solving that too. What I guess I'm saying is no problem. It's being solved. In our generation, that problem is being solved. Not before, but now. It's being solved. Second, Scripture translation is expanding rapidly. If you'd ask Wycliffe Bible translators how many years it would take to get all the languages translated that need a Scripture translation, they would have said something in the range of 150 years. That is a truly long-term plan. In the last 10 years, the number of years it takes to get a New Testament translated was 13 years, 10 years ago. That's what it was. That was the number. Now they've redefined what's needed, actually, to get a church started. But the number of years it now takes to get enough Scripture to start the church through various methods that they're using. They even use computers. They even use artificial intelligence. It sounds sinful, but I want to tell you, God can use artificial intelligence, computers, to project out translations of Scriptures and let people refine it, and all it does is accelerate how quickly they get the Word. But through many methods, that 13-year number has turned into 2 years, and that number is declining. In fact, they're reluctant to tell me the new number because they know I talk about it all the time, and they don't want to be committed to it. And I'll tell you one more thing about Wycliffe. They are dreaming the day of 2025, by the end of that year, that every language that ever needs a Scripture translated will have a Scripture translation project and in the hands of nationals getting done by 2025. And, lest you think that's a dream, they are embarked on a $1 billion fundraising campaign and have already raised $120 million to accomplish that purpose. You see, breakthrough progress is occurring. They had one gift of $50 million. Is God moving or what? Yes, He is. One last thing. Very fruitful ministry methods have been developed and continue to be developed. I mean, the Jesus film in history is an example. Here's a 2-hour feature-length film on the life of Jesus Christ that's been translated into 1,000 languages. One of the most translated other films of any sort is The Lion King. I mean, can you imagine? I'm even making this comparison. And it's translated about 125 or 135 languages. Do you know how many countries it's been shown in? You're probably racking your brain for a number. Don't. All. It's the only film ever that's been shown in every country on earth. 6 billion exposures to the gospel as a result of just that one tool. 200 million decisions for Christ as a result of just that one tool. That's just one tool. God has given us breakthrough progress. I'll give you a couple of other tools, though, more recent. Can you believe that God uses texting to do evangelism? Texting, yes. By the way, I text for those young people around here. You know, I'm not that old. I text. I'm not fast, but I can text. Took me a while to get my secretary to come around. You know, she's about my age too. She said, "How ever?" I said, "Do it, just do it, Deborah. You can handle it." She does. I got her texting now. Well, in Moldova, we had a big problem. Moldova is a very poor country, and in that particular country, they had 9,000 magazines that they distributed that were evangelistic, and got back 2,500 people said, "I want to talk to you, and here's my cell phone number." Maybe a poor country, but kids have got cell phones. You know, that's some things that can't give, right? Food maybe, but not cell phones. And somebody came up with this bright idea. Why don't we just text the gospel to all these people? Oh, we had a big problem. I don't know if you know the 4 spiritual laws, but each one of those laws is more than 160 characters. So what do you do with that? Oh, no problem. Turn it into 8 spiritual laws. Now, Vonette Bright almost fainted when I first told her about that. It seemed like a severe disturbance of the gospel, okay? But all I know is that dozens and dozens of people came to Jesus Christ. Hundreds more wanted to meet to get followed up more because people thought of a way to use a current technology to spread the gospel. And all 2,500 were exposed to the gospel specifically through that method. I'll give you one more illustration. The internet in general is being very powerfully used in a rapidly increasing way. I just was on the phone this afternoon with the director of one part of our ministry called Global Media Outreach. It has to do with the internet. Take a wild stab just in your mind. I'm not asking you to say anything. How many people do you suppose came to Christ just through that one part of one ministry? So who in the world knows through YWAM and everything else, okay? But just that one part of one ministry, how many decisions do you suppose were made for Jesus Christ, or at least indicated in the year 2008? Over 3 million decisions for Christ. And they're projecting, if the funds are available, that over 5 million will probably indicate decisions next year. That will soon be the majority of the decisions that God uses this ministry I'm a part of to see happen. And it didn't even exist as a technique 10 years ago. I'm just telling you, God is not stuck in the past. He is ready to use any technology that he has available today. And I close with one more illustration of that, short films. You got in your packet, La Busqueta, I believe, is a short film, and I also got 10 other short films. Communicating with young people today, we find, is revolutionarily different when you engage them even in a brief drama. Many of you around this room would know that even better than I. This is one such short film. Just get into this film and see how God uses it even in your life tonight. It's very brief.